At no time in recorded history has a leader, a wielder of power in human terms, not as popular figurehead or celebrity, had such a closeness to his followers, his entire people, as did Adam Führer. It can only be called a love relationship. What other than love can explain the German people's glad welcome of this humble but thoroughly dedicated saviour from the eastern marches? What other than love can explain how the people of Greater Germany remained with him in bad times and in good, for better or for worse? What other than love can explain the fact that those who remember him love him still? We loved him because he stood for the best that was in us, and as our leader demanded of us our best. It was never Führer's Germany. It shall always be Germany's Führer, the man loved by his people. This is why we loved him. We loved him because he loved us and our children. We loved him so much that we, the young and not so young, made pilgrimages to his home in the Alps, not to ask him for favours, but merely to catch a glimpse of him and to be near him. We loved him because he was a good listener and lived simply. We loved him because he spoke the unspoken thoughts of our souls in such a way that all could understand. He did not oversimplify our problems, he clarified them. He did not beguile us with cheap solutions and easy panaceas, for there were none. He did not guarantee us a better world. He asked us to fight for one. Fight we did, for we who heard him knew he was right. We loved him because he was honest. He did not expound the supposed virtues of democracy and then corrupt the process with purchased votes. We loved him not because he was a great dictator, but because he was a great teacher, a living example of the order he preached. Without order, nothing can exist. How well we who had suffered knew this lesson. But when there is no basis for instruction, no racial pattern, no heredity, the lesson of order cannot be learned, no matter how brilliant the instructor. He taught us this all-important truth of race. Führer's inspiration kindled our racial potential for construction and creativity. His order was not imposed upon us. It came from within. We loved Führer because he was a white man. He practiced our white virtues of forthright honesty, and his actions matched his words. If something was filth, he disposed of it as filth with sanitary thoroughness. He did not enshrine the excrescence of sick minds. He was not ashamed to burn shameful enemy propaganda, which was aimed at the destruction of our souls. He was not like our racial enemy and his democratic stooges who preached freedom of the press and practiced suppression. We loved him because he replaced the wasteful idleness of our penal system with productive labour and punishment with redemption. Even habitual criminals fulfilled useful roles in our society, roles which even they could look upon with pride. Not only did he save us from them, he saved them for us. We loved him because he protected us from religious charlatans, preachers for profit who posed as prophets of God in order to batten like vampires on the trust of simple believers. We loved him because he defended us against the racial enemy's campaign to spread perversion among us. He knew that sexual perversion was poison and that enough of it could kill any race. We thanked him for removing from circulation the many Swej smut publications which championed all manner of sexual deviation, including abortion, in the name of freedom of the press. We loved him because he removed our alien dominators and placed them back among their own kind. We loved him because he freed us from those corrupted by gold and replaced them with able and incorruptible men. We loved him because he did not surround himself with persons who sought evil privilege, but who sought instead the privilege of serving us. No means of helping our people was too humble for our high and mighty leaders. We contributed freely, for we loved our leaders, also almost as much as we did our leader. We loved him because he made our police force work for us, not against us. Our young learned that our police were not against us, but a necessary help in the establishment of a healthy society. Certainly, all available help was necessary to protect the honest citizens from the machinations of traitors, secret societies, and minority pressure groups. We supported our police because they were German police, working for German government. Thus, we required far fewer police to maintain public order under Führer than we do today under alien domination. We loved him because he did not persecute our enemies but prosecuted them without fear or favour, according to law, our law. We loved him because he saved us from the alien invaders who promoted the extinction of our race, the white race. We loved him because he kept our entertainment media free of the perversion of race mixing and race suicide. We loved him because he used the entertainment media to educate us about life and true values. The themes were uplifting in ways which were never dull. Best of all, they were our plays and films by our people. We loved him because he taught us the truth about race and proved even to skeptics that the white race is the founder of all great cultures and civilizations, and that race mixing is the great destroyer. We loved him because he hid nothing from us. He was confident in our strength to face the worst atrocities our enemies had to offer, and surmount them with courage and determination. We loved him because he taught our fellow white men, the Poles, the truth about their Swej Soviet liberators. He showed the world the ghastly face of communism by revealing the Katyn Forest massacre of the Polish officer corps, and by proving forever the guilt of the Soviet system. We loved him because he had bold plans which benefited man and harmonized with nature. We loved him because he gave us the best roads in the world, envied and emulated by other peoples ever since. Not only did he give us roads, but a cheap, practical car to run on them, the Volkswagen, the people's car. We loved him for giving us honest money and thereby saving our jobs, our homes, and our industry. He made our lives not only bearable, but fruitful. We loved him because he did the work of the Lord by driving the money changers out of our country. He taught us that true wealth is not based on gold nor upon credit, but upon the productivity of our land and people. Honest money is only possible with honest men. No system of law or gold can protect us from criminals in government. There is no substitute for honest men. We loved him because he wrested the creation of our money away from the Swej, like his American predecessor Abraham Lincoln. He restored our economy to peacetime prosperity. It was not preparation for war that ended our depression. Where the Swej retained their money power, the depression worsened. Unemployment rose drastically in America and Britain at this time. As the British military strategist Liddell Hart maintained, the last thing Führer wanted was war. But war came at last, and none too soon for the Swej bankers. War was declared by Britain in 1939, but little fighting occurred. Britain announced Swej terms for ending the war: kill Führer and return to the international gold standard. For Germany, the choice was certain death by starvation or possible death in battle. The Swej bankers had created massive unemployment in our country, just as they had done in England, France, America, and throughout the world. They did this by decreasing the supply of money, which our racial renegade governments had allowed them to control entirely. Before Führer came to power, 7 million Germans were unemployed, and over 6 million only partially employed. In the 4 bleak years from 1929 to 1933, despair and hopelessness caused the death by suicide of some 250,000 of our people. We loved him because he freed us from dire dependency on the whims and vagaries of foreign suppliers of domestic necessities. He taught us that political independence was possible only with economic independence. In 4 years from 1933 to 1937, he made us virtually self-sufficient in the production of steel, aluminium, chemicals, petroleum, and general industrial production. We loved him because he had a deep reverence for our past. A people whose roots are strong cannot be toppled by gusts of fad, fashion, and foolish innovation. We loved him because he was a deeply spiritual man who did not allow the Swej to confuse Christian teachings. The Christian churches loved him. Over 40% of the SS were Catholics. We loved him because he built churches for us, Christian churches. In the name of Christianity, our enemies destroyed these churches, later bragging about the precision of their bombing raids. Today, rabbis lecture in Christian schools. The Talmud of the Swej, their holy book, describes non-Swej as beasts of the field and cattle. The Swej have not changed. Why have the Christians changed? We loved him because he reaffirmed the goodness and the wisdom of wholesome work and wholesome food. We loved him because he trusted his people. He did not find it necessary to restrict firearms ownership. No true leader need fear the armed members of his race. We loved him because he taught us to appreciate beauty by creating it with our own hands. Perfection and excellence were our goals. As we worked to master our medium, we learned to observe nature and apply her laws. Thus did we become artists and also National Socialists, for National Socialism is simply the application of nature's laws to politics. We loved him because he encouraged the sexes to realize their full potentials as complementary rather than competitive beings. Men were made for women, and women for men. Each was trained for that which he or she could do best. This did not mean that men could not be artistic or creative, nor did it mean that women could not be great aviatrixes, photographers, film directors, athletes, etc. It simply meant whatever we did, our men were manly and our women feminine. Enemy inculcation of sexual role confusion with the aim of crippling the sex's role in child-rearing was thus overthrown and scattered to the winds. We loved him because he devoted much effort and care to provide the unborn and parents to be with a healthy and pleasant environment. Beginning with healthy young parents, Swejry encouraged good prenatal care by stressing healthy diet, exercise, and freedom from intoxicants. The unhealthy and the mentally defective were discouraged from inflicting more of themselves upon our hard-pressed population. Sterilization was recommended for carriers of genetic defects. The German people could decide who should have children, not the Swej bankers. We loved him because he protected the rights of the unborn, and because he treated the young with the love and respect they deserve as our successors, and he made them worthy of that love and respect by training them for responsible adulthood. We loved him because he brought us Europeans together. With him, we knew our strength and felt the awesome importance of our racial mission as never before. He brought all of us together, even Americans, Russians, and Britons. White men from all the countries of Europe joined his ranks to defend the holy swastika banner of our race. Because we fought to the end, the destruction of white civilization was avoided. Our sacrifice was not in vain. We loved him because he brought out the best in our fighting men. He bestowed upon us a new generation of heroes. He was loyal to our allies and backed his words with action. We loved him for his greatness in overlooking the mean propaganda pricks of enemy gadflies. We loved him for his chivalry, his conduct of war, so as to lose as few white lives as possible. We loved him because he honored our heroes. A race without heroes is a dead or dying race. Our white heroes are brave, forthright, strong, and kind. The heroes of our racial enemy are cowardly, devious, weak, and cruel. A race is known by its heroes because heroes are examples to cherish and to emulate. Thus do we differ from our racial enemy, the Swej. We loved him because his spiritual presence prevented our sufferings and sorrows from overwhelming us. He was adored like no other mortal before or since. Today, his spirit soars beyond the shores of the white man's home in Europe. Wherever we are, he is with us. Hail, Swejry.